Hello everyone, I am Akhil Rajaratnam. Welcome to today's daily news analysis. So for today's news analysis, I have taken these 5 topics. One is regarding the dropouts in school enrollment. So recently there was a report regarding the how this school dropouts are happening. So we'll be discussing why this issue is happening. And another one is regarding the earthquake which happened in China's Tibetan region last time. So we'll consider some of the geopolitical issues as well as the geographical reasons. Another one is regarding India and US is jointly manufacturing some interoperable Sonobuoys. So we'll discuss what is this Sonobuoys. Okay. Another one is regarding again another report was regarding the Earth's water cycle and how climate change is impacting this particular thing. And tomorrow it is Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. So as a snippet we'll be discussing what is this Pravasa Bharatiya Divas. Okay. All right. So before moving on to these topics, let me show you a question. In yesterday's DNA, we actually had a topic regarding Harappan civilization or Indus Valley civilization. So you can see this question and you can drop your answers in the chat box. In the end of the session, I'll be discussing the answer. Which of the following was not a part of Harappan civilization? Okay, Manda, Ganeriwala, Mergar, and Sotako. Okay, so you can drop your answers in the chat box. All right. So before moving on to the analysis, let me introduce you to our products. So these are the two products which we are having. It's a first one is a 1-year prelims comes mains batch. So this will be for the people who are writing the examination in 2026 for the 2026 examination. Another one is for people who are aiming the 2027 examination. So that will be a 2-year prelims comes mains batch. Okay, regarding the program overview, we'll be having around 800 plus hours of general studies and CSAT, and also 200 plus hours of current affairs classes will also be there. We'll be giving you the micro schedule on how you have to break down these topics in the syllabus. Expert faculties will be there for every topic, and also obviously we'll be having regular testing sessions also, whether it be for mains or whether it be for prelims. We'll be having exams regarding that. Okay, these are our materials, study materials. One will be the regarding the specific topics, that also will be having digital products like app and all will be there, and also will be having a monthly current affairs magazine is also there. Okay, all right. So these are the 5 topics which we'll be discussing regarding the school enrollment, which is from Hindu. Another one is regarding the Chinese earthquake, so that was there in both Hindu as well as Indian Express. Another one is regarding the Sonobuoys. India and US will be jointly manufacturing the Sonobuoys, and again regarding the report on Earth's water cycle. And finally, tomorrow it is Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, so we'll be discussing what is this Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. Okay, all right. Moving on to the first topic. So why is there a drop in school enrollment? So this was from the text and context page in Hindu. Okay, so this article is saying this article is saying that UDIS plus data. Okay, so in this UDIC plus data for 2022 and 2023 till 2024, that is highlighting severe concerns regarding the trends in the school enrollments. How many students are enrolled in Indian schools? Okay, so that is something alarming. So that's what this article is discussing. Okay, so we'll see what is this UDISC plus. All right, before that, let's see a previous year question in the same lines. National Educational Policy 2020 is in conformity with the Sustainable Development Goal 4. It intends to restructure and reorient the education system in India. Critically examine the statement. Again, this is also regarding a policy, education policy, which was implemented. It was brought in 2020. Okay. All right. Let's see what is this particular report, UDISC plus report. Okay. So this UDISC report is a report which is brought by Ministry of Education, Ministry of Education in 2012-2013 period. Okay, it stands for Unified District Information System for Education Plus, which was brought by Ministry of Education. So what is the purpose of this report? It is to monitor the state of school education in India. It is to monitor the state of school education in India. Okay, introduced in 2012-2013. So why we are actually why we have to monitor the school education in India? Because based on this only policies has to be framed. For example, this, even though this is a report, this is also a comprehensive data repository which should be having the number of school enrollments in the particular period. Number of school enrollments means number of students was enrolled in the school in that particular period, and also regarding the infrastructure. For example, what are the facilities which are available in that particular school? For example, it can be the IT infrastructure. IT infrastructure will be there, and also regarding the toilets will be there, and also regarding the accessibility will be there. So different parameters will be coming under this infrastructure, and also some other efficiency indicators are also there. For example, negative efficiency indicator like dropout rates. Okay, enrollment rate means number of students who has been enrolled in that particular program. Dropout rates means number of students who has been dropped out from that particular program. So that will also be there, and also we'll be having retention rate. How many students we are able to retain from one period to another period. So retention rate is also part of this. If you see this data, if you are seeing this trend, then you can see an interesting pattern. See, here you can see the pattern. So we have data from 2018-19 to 2023-24. If you see this 2018-19, you can see that 26.03 crore students are enrolled. Here 19-20, 20-21, a 21-22 also you can see that 26. Consistently we have around 26 crores of students in this enrolled in this schools in India. Okay, but what happened in these years? It has drastically fell. From 26 it went to 25, and again from there it went to 24.8 crore. So this is alarming. That is what the report is actually saying. So here you can see that from in the grades 1 to 12, there is a drop of 1.22 crore students. 1.22 crore students if you are taking this data. Okay, 1.22 crore students from approximately 26 crore students, it has fell to 24 crore students. And also another interesting thing is also that we'll be coming to that later. But here you can see the statistics in 2022-2023 and 2023-2024, 37 lakh students has been dropped out of that school. So that is also very interesting statistics. So this is not regarding the students alone. Even the number of schools has also drastically reduced from 15 lakh 58,903 in 2017-18 to 14 lakh 71,891 in 2023-2024. Again, there is a drop of 87,012 schools. In that itself, 76,883 schools are government schools. Okay, and other than that, there is regional disparities also there. For example, in Jammu, areas like Jammu and Kashmir, there is huge dropouts. I mean, like huge decrease in schools are there. Around 4,000 schools are less in Jammu Kashmir. Okay, and again Assam also around 4,000 schools are less. If you coming to UP also around 3,000 schools are missing. So this is what this article is highlighting. Why this is happening? Okay, so even though this is a statistic, government is coming up with their own arguments. They are saying that it is not because students are not enrolling in, but they are saying that it is because of other reasons. So we'll see what are the government's argument on this particular issue. So government is saying that there is actually a methodology change. In the data collection. In the 2020 to 2023 report, they have introduced something known as Aadhaar based individual data collection. Aadhaar based individual data collection. For example, if a student is enrolling in one particular school, his ID card or maybe his identity will be linked to that particular Aadhaar. Okay, school ID will be linked to that Aadhaar. So even if he is going to another school also, his ID will be tracked. Okay, and there will not be any double counting won't be there. Earlier what was happening is like even if that student is joining in another school, so he will be counted as okay, he in this particular school also he is a student, that particular school also he is a student. Okay, so one person itself is being counted twice or maybe thrice, depends on how many admissions he is actually taking. So that methodology change. Because of this methodology change, they are saying that earlier figures were overestimated by around 5 to 6%. Earlier figures were overestimated because of around 5 to 6%. Why? Because because of the duplication. Okay, duplication as well as double counting. Okay, so now the government is saying that they have improved the accuracy. So that is why there is a decline in the number, not because of the students are not enrolling. So that is one argument which is given by the government. So why they, another important reason is the inflating figures of the purpose of funding. For example, in a student, if there are only 50 students are there, 50 students mean the resource allocation for 50 students will only be there, right? For example, if the government is allocating computers to that particular school, for that 50 students only they will be allocating the computers, maybe that won't be sufficient. So what these people will be doing, institutions will be doing, is they'll inflate the numbers. They are saying that no, it's not 50, we have 80 students, okay? And they'll be getting this resources for the 80 students. So that is also, and that was also one issue, okay? So because of that only there is a the school enrollment ratios were inflated, okay? All right. And again, duplicate records in schools itself, they'll be having multiple duplicate records will be there. So that is also another issue. So this is what the government is saying regarding this particular um, issue. But the article is discussing something else. Article is saying that, okay, you said, the government said that the 2018-2019 data, so that is inflated. The government is agreeing that that is inflated. But why they are again considering it as a base year? Why they are again considering it as a base year? Because they already know that this is inflated. In this particular methodology also, they have used 2018-19 as a base year. Why that is happening? They could have used some other date. For example, after 2022-23, they have already enabled this Aadhaar based linking. Okay, so they could have taken that as a base year. Instead of that, they are again they have again taken the 2018-19 as the base year. So that is not giving a reliable, that is not making making this reliable, okay? That is one key issue which is pointed out by this author. Another one is there is a deficit of 37 lakh students. There is a deficit of 37 lakh students in which period? 2022 to 2024. What is the significance of this 2022 year? So this is where they have enabled something known as a Aadhaar linking. Okay, they have enable this Aadhaar linking. So in this year also, from here onwards, it's already tracking rate. So now the government cannot say that they are actually going with duplicate. There is actually a duplication because already Aadhaar linking has happened. But again, what is happening? There is a deficit of 37 lakh students in this 2022 to 2024 period. Why that is happening? So that is another thing which this author is asking. Okay, even though the government is not saying anything clear about this, the possible reasons could be, you know, right, COVID pandemic was it. Okay, COVID pandemic was it. So COVID pandemic might have induced some economic stress. So that might have reduced the school enrollments, especially in this rural area. So that is one thing. Another thing is accessibility issues. Some of the schools might have merged, some of the schools might have closed down, and maybe facilities are not there. So maybe that could also be one reason why the school enrollment might have dropped. Okay, so these are two arguments. And also there is a deficit in the schools. Okay, we already know that because of double counting and all, student enrollments were inflated. Okay, so now they have already linked this Aadhaar. They have already linked the Aadhaar, and now the data is accurate. That's what the government is saying. But what about the schools? School cannot be inflated, right? They cannot say, instead of one school, they cannot say that we had two schools. So now there is a deficit in that also. Even that is also not an issue, but still there is no clarity. There is no clarity regarding what happened to these schools. What could have happened? It could have merged. Two schools would have merged. So that's one possibility. Schools would have shut down. Schools would have shut down. So many things would have happened, but there is no clarity like what actually happened to this particular schools, or maybe some school might not have counted. So that possibility is also there. But still, there is no clarity regarding what happened to this thing. And also, if the schools have been shut down, that is actually violating the right to education, violating the right to education norms. Why? Because, you know, there is a circular, there is a provision in this right to education, like within 1 kilometer, within 1 kilometer radius in the rural areas, there should be a school. Okay, so if schools would have shut down, means that provision under this right to education act has been violated. So that is also a very serious issue. Another important thing is regional disparities. Regional disparities, especially that is talking in these areas like Jammu Kashmir, Assam and Uttar Pradesh, because, you know, in Jammu Kashmir around 4,500 schools has been shut down. Around 4,500 schools has been shut down in Jammu Kashmir. Assam's around 4,200 schools has been shut down in Assam. UP, around 3,000 schools has been shut down in Assam. So what is the justification for all this shutdowns? So that is also another important thing which this author is asking regarding this government report. Okay, but other than that, some of the possible reasons like Jammu and Kashmir, there was actually it was a conflict zone. Geographical challenges is also there, so that could have been a possible reason. So that is also one thing. Assam also the same thing. It's in the northeast region, so potentially infrastructure challenges would have happened in Assam, and also Uttar Pradesh. It could have been due to the socio-economic challenges. So these are some of the possibilities which could have caused the dropout rates as well as a decrease in the number of schools. Okay. Alright, so there are some recommendations from experts regarding what could have been done. One is accessibility measures which is given under the Right to Education Act of 2000 to 2009 itself. Major thing is within 1 kilometer, every 1 kilometer there should be a school. So that is one of the provisions which was there in this Right to Education Act. But still, there were challenges and it was not purely implemented everywhere. Okay, but still, the earlier times and all, the number of schools were much higher. Okay, so that's what it is saying. Another one is highlighted by the RTA Forum's 10th stock taking report. There should be transparency in reporting. Earlier itself, I told that for funding purpose and all, to get more funds and all, what these people were doing, they were highlighting, they were inflating the count, okay, inflating the count of the students and all. So that should be avoided. So that was highlighted by the RTA Forum stock taking 10th stock taking report. Another one which was highlighted by India School Closure Report 2018 by the Center for Civil Society, there should be enrollment audits should be there. Enrollment audit should be there. It's not just for the government school, but private schools should also be. Vigilantly part of this particular enrollment audits. Okay, so that's another recommendation which was given by the India School Closure Report 2018. Okay. Again, another one is localized intervention. Localized intervention that was highlighted by the annual status of education report as a report. Okay. So in this localized intervention, I have already mentioned it like Jammu Kashmir. In Jammu Kashmir, they had their own challenges like the geopolitical, the geographical challenges will be there. UP, they have socio-economic challenges will be there. So every state should be having their own localized intervention. It should not be a national level policy alone, but there should be some sort of a localized intervention to identify the issue as well as rectify this particular issue. Okay. Another one, RT's forum report. So that has given something regarding the dropout prevention. So they are saying that to address this dropouts, we have to identify the core issue. Sometimes the core issue will be economic reasons. For example, after COVID pandemic, we have seen a dropout rate. So that could be after COVID pandemic, we were facing a lot of economic crisis. So maybe that could be also be a possible reason. So that should also be considered. So that was given by the RT's forum report. Okay. All right. What is a way forward? What is a way forward? So data accuracy. Data should be accurate. There should not be no duplication, no double counting. Nothing should be there. Okay. Infrastructure development. For example, like we have to clearly follow that 1 kilometer rule. That 1 kilometer rule. Every school should be there, and also this that road should be there. Accessible road should be there. So these things are also deterring students from enrolling in the schools, and everything should be monitored. Everything should be monitored periodically. Even if you can reduce the frequency of this, instead of assessing it in 1 year, maybe you can reduce it and assess it every 6 months. And then that will also be good. And also communities has to be involved. They have to be educated. They have to be educated regarding why students should be sent, why these children should be sent to the school. So that community involvement should also be there. State specific strategies we have already discussed. Should be a localized intervention should be there regarding this. Okay. All right. So these are some of the what we can actually do regarding this. Okay. Alright, so that's it regarding the school enrollment topic. Let's move on to a topic from science and tech. India USA jointly manufacture interoperable sonobuoys for Navy. So recently India and US have announced significant partnership to jointly manufacture interoperable sonobuoy. Interoperable means it will be operable for both India as well as US. We have earlier also we have that kind of setup regarding many that aircraft and all we have, okay, deals with Russia. Alright, so this will be coming in science and tech part in GS2 science and tech part, and here we will be discussing regarding the what is the sonobuoy, what are its types, what is the significance for India. Okay, we'll see a previous year question in this regard. With reference to Agni 4 missile, which of the following statement is or are correct? Okay, so like that. So like that way, maybe the sonobuoys can also be asked. Alright, so what are sonobuoys? What are sonobuoys? So sonobuoys are devices that are used in anti-submarine warfare. Anti-submarine warfare. So why we are using this thing, sonobuoys, to detect and track the submarines underwater. Detect and track the submarines underwater. Why? Because submarines are the most difficult vessels to track. Submarines are the most difficult vessels to track. It's easy to track a ship. It's easy to track, even if they have stealth technology also, it's easy to track a ship. It's easy to track comparatively, it's easy to track an aircraft and all, tanks and all, but still submarines are little difficult to track. So for that particular purpose only, mostly the sonar, even though they have other purposes, mostly in Navy and all, they'll be using the sonobuoys for that purpose. Okay. So they are temporary devices. It is not something which will be placing it for the entire period. Mostly the life of a sonobuoy will be from 1 hour, maybe from 1 hour or maybe few hours to several days. For example, 2 or 3 days. So that kind of a short span only we'll be using a sonobuoy. Okay, now let's see how this sonobuoy is actually working. So usually here you can see that sonobuoys will be dropped. Sonobuoys will be dropped either from a aircraft or it can be a ship also. Ship will be there. It can be dropped from a ship also. Okay, so sonobuoys will be dropped from this aircraft or sonobuoys will be dropped from this ship. Okay, so after that the sonobuoys they will be detecting. They will be detecting. Sono means related to sound. Sono means related to sound. So basically the sonobuoys are good listeners. They will be listening whether they are whether there are any sound waves in that area. Sonic waves are there in that area. So they will be detecting, and after that they will be sending it to the origin. Okay, they'll be sending it. If they have been dropped from a aircraft, then they'll be sending it to aircraft or maybe to a ship or whatever it be. They'll be sending it, and after that, based on the sonobuoys the tracking and based on the sonobuoys information, they'll be deciding, okay, whether they might understand that, okay, there is a submarine there, so maybe we can attack that. Okay, so like that. So this is actually how sonobuoys are working. Again, here also we have different types of sonobuoys. One is passive sonobuoys. One is passive sonobuoys. So passive, like the name suggests, it is passive sonobuoys. So they listen to the sounds. They listen to the sounds. Sound in the sense they can detect whether it's a submarine sound or whatever it be. So they'll be listening to the sound. They'll be listening to the sound. For example, if the sonobuoy is kept here, they'll be tracking whether anything is coming. Anything is coming. After that, they'll be detecting again. They'll be sending it to back to the whoever they have placed it, whether it be the aircraft or whether it be the sound. So this is passive sonobuoys. They are listening only. If there is no sound, they are not detecting any sound, means nothing will be sent. These are again we have active sonobuoys. Active sonobuoys means again sonobuoy will be there. Sonobuoy will be there, and again even if there is no sound also, what the sonobuoy will be doing is they will be sending their sound waves. They will be sending sonic waves, and maybe if there is some obstacle is there will be some obstacle will be there. So this sound waves, it will be hitting this obstacle, and again it will be reflected back. You know how sonar and all will be working. So it will be going there, it will be hitting there, and it will be returning back to this particular sonobuoy. Okay, so these are known as active sonobuoys. Other than that, we have special purpose sonobuoys are also there. Even though Sonobuoys are mostly used to track this, I mean like sound waves from one particular thing for some other purpose. For example, for research purpose and all, sonobuoys will be there. So their extra information also they will be able to capture. For example, temperature will be, they will be able to capture the temperature of that area or maybe the salinity of that area. You will be able to calculate the temperature or salinity of that particular area. So these are known as special purpose sonobuoys. Okay, so we have passive sonobuoys, we have active sonobuoys, and we have special purpose sonobuoys. Everything depends on the what is actually the purpose of this sonobuoy. Okay. All right. So what are the applications of the sonobuoy? One is obviously anti-submarine warfare. We are also um, joined hands with the US for this anti-submarine warfare only. Okay, anti-submarine warfare means it will be tracking this submarines under water. Other than that, we have search and rescue operations also. We'll be using this sonobuoys. For example, sometimes this flights and all they will be crashing in the that sea itself. Okay, so at that time, based on the black box only, we need that black box to understand what happened. Okay, so to detect this black boxes and all, will be using sonobuoy. Okay, so that is another important purpose. And another one is ocean research. Here mostly we'll be using the special purpose sonobuoys. For example, not just detecting the sound waves alone, but for detecting for calculating the temperature of that area or maybe salinity of that area. For that also we'll be using this. Okay, all right. So these are the applications. Next one is, what is the significance of this for India? What is the significance of this for India? So better naval security, better naval security. You know, right? India is a peninsular country. India is a peninsular country. So obviously, we need security in this area. Mostly in the southern part of India means it is completely peninsula only. So we need that for better naval security, and it will be helping the Indian Navy as well as Coast Guard for this. And also countering China. Countering China, we have threats from China in the northern borders like Ladakh region, in the near the Pakistan region and all. We have, other than that, we have issues in these areas also. These areas also, China is having a strong presence. Okay, strong presence like string of pearls and all will be there. So for that also we need this kind of, China will be having super powerful submarines will be there. So to counter that, to track that, we need this kind of sonobuoys. Okay, even US is also supporting India against this Chinese supremacy. And again, another one is strengthening this India-US ties. Okay, India is having defense cooperation with different countries like Russia as well as US also. So we need more this kind of deals to ensure that strengthen this India-US ties. Okay, and also another one is boost to make in India. So in India, this will be made both in India as well as US, and it will be interoperable also. It will be interoperable also. So obviously it will be a boost to make in India. Okay, so that's also another important significance. Okay, all right, moving on to next topic. Why the location of Chinese earthquake matters. So yesterday on January 7th, earthquake of magnitude 7.1, earthquake of magnitude earthquake of magnitude 7.1 that struck the Tibetan region of China. That struck the Tibetan region closer to India only. Okay, even the tremors were felt in Kolkata. Tremors were even felt in Kolkata, and the epicenter somewhere around 80 kilometers of this Mount Everest. Okay, so these are, so we'll be discussing what is this Tibetan earthquake, and another term is also coming. So that is terrain, because to be specific, this happened in the Lhasa terrain. Lhasa terrain. Okay, so this is the geological or geographical aspect. So other than that, there is a geopolitical dimension is also there. Why? Because near to this Lhasa terrain only, China is building the world's largest hydroelectric project. Right, hydroelectric project is always something which is something has the potential to trigger an earthquake. Okay, so again, India is also opposing in that particular context. So we'll be discussing few things regarding this. Okay, so this is important from both geography aspect as well as from the geopolitical aspect also. Okay, international relations aspect also. We'll see a previous year question in this regard. Himalayas are highly prone to landslides. Discuss the causes and suggest sustainable suitable measures for of mitigation. Okay. All right. So to understand what is this terrain and all, we need to have a brief understanding of how this Himalayas were formed. Tibet is actually part of this. I mean, like it's in the vicinity of this Himalayas only. So we need to understand how this Himalayas were formed. Okay, so the Himalayas they were formed around 50 million years ago. So how the Himalayas were formed? Because earlier we had something known as the Indian plate was there. Indian plate was in the southern part, southern hemisphere only. So from there it slowly moved 70 million years ago, 50 million years ago, and around 50 million years ago, it collided with the Eurasian plate. Okay, so it collided with the Eurasian plate. So two plates will be there. So this is one plate, this is another plate. Okay, so if two plates are colliding, what will happen? Many things can happen. Either this can go down, subsidence can happen, or maybe what can happen? They can collide and form of fold mountains. Okay, so this is what happened with the Himalayas. They collided and they formed a fold mountain. Okay, so this is what happened, and why this area is again seismically active, because this is still happening. This is still happening, and the rate is around 60 millimeter per year. Every time, every year 60 millimeter per year. This is again colliding. So that is why this area is seismically active, and Himalayas is one of the youngest formation. So obviously it will be more seismically active compared to the older geographical region. So in this particular region, this Lhasa terrace is coming. Lhasa terrain is coming. So this time the earthquake happened in the Lhasa terrain in the this fold mountain region. So we'll discuss what is this terrain. All right, here you can see that this is actually a plate, and in this plate there is something which is distinct from the other regions. Okay, so terrain is basically a fragment of the earth crust. Plate is a part of the earth crust only, right? So this is actually a fragment of the earth crust that has distinct geological characteristics. That has distinct geological characteristics. For example, even if it seems like this is actually a single plate, sometimes in some areas it can be distinct. Okay, so this is known as terrain. This is known as terrain, even if it's a part of. So this terrain is also part of this Indian plate, but still this is a terrain. It is actually having a distinct geological characteristics compared to the surrounding region. And a very important terrain is Lhasa terrain. Lhasa Lhasa terrain. Okay, so what is this geological significance of this Lhasa terrain? So it's part of the Himalayan third pole. This Lhasa terrain is part of the Himalayan third pole. Why it is known as third pole? Pole means what? Pole means it will be in the both north as well as south. We have two poles are there. So there glaciers will be there, freshwater lakes will be there, rivers will be there. So this is one of the most important significant things which is contributing to the water resources in our country. Okay, all right. So this is actually the third pole, Himalayan third pole. Why? Because here also we can see a lot of glaciers, a lot of fresh waters will be there, and lakes will also be there. Okay, so earthquakes in this area can actually destabilize the glaciers, and it can cause landslides and alter this river courses. So earthquake in this particular area, especially in this terrain, that can destabilize the glaciers. So if most of the rivers are originating from the glaciers only. If the glaciers are destabilized, what will happen? The river courses will be altered. If river courses are altered, what will happen? It will be crossing the areas in which people are inhabited. Okay, and also even the dams will also be affected. So like that, it can cause a chain reaction. Okay, that is one of the major issues. And regarding this area, historical records show that over 21 earthquakes of magnitude of 6 or higher is there in this terrain since 1950. Okay, so this is the historical data from here. Problem is here only China is constructing this dam, or maybe close to here only China is constructing the dam. So you are already seen what are the issues. It can destabilize the glaciers, it can alter the flows. Obviously, dam means it will be part of a river only, right? And there China is building the world's largest hydroelectric project. So that is a issue which India, countries along with India is also opposing. Okay, so Chinese dam, it's the world's largest hydroelectric dam. Okay, so which river it is? Yarlung Sangpo. Yarlung Sangpo, that is in this Lhasa terrain region. So why India is concerned about this? Because this Yarlung Sangpo is something which is flowing to India. From here, this Yarlung Sangpo will be flowing to India, and that is Brahmaputra. Okay, so Yarlung Sangpo flows to India as Brahmaputra river. So why India is concerned? Because this dam could disrupt river's perennial flow. This dam could, the Brahmaputra is one of the largest rivers in the India, the largest rivers in India, and this could disrupt the river's perennial flow. That is a major issue. That is a major issue, and obviously the lives of Indian, I mean, like whether it be the economic life or whatever it be, geography of India, that will also be affected if this dam is coming. And another important thing which again which was highlighted in this particular earthquake is earthquake in this region could alter the reverse course. Okay, even if without this earthquake itself, even if a dam is constructed also, that is going to affect India. Now earthquake, if earthquake is also there, means that will be even more fatal. So that is the concern which India is raising in this regard. Okay, all right. So hope you have understood this. What is this terrain, and what is this geological issue, as well as what is this geopolitical issue. Moving on to next topic. Next topic, Earth's water cycle and how climate change is impacting it. Okay. So recently in 2024, there was a report, Global Water Monitor Report. Global Water Monitor Report. So that was released. So basically that's actually a collaboration between different countries like Australia, Saudi Arabia, China, Germany. So there they have highlighted that this climate change has been severely impacting this Earth's water cycle, and that's altering this nature's movement. So that's what we'll be discussing here. So we'll be discussing what is a water cycle, and the key findings of this particular report also. So this is coming under GS paper 3 environment. Okay. All right. We'll see a previous year question in this regard. With reference to water on planet Earth, consider the following statements. Amount of water in the rivers and lakes is more than the amount of groundwater. Amount of water in the rivers and lakes is more than amount of groundwater. Amount of water in the polar ice cap and glaciers is more than the amount of groundwater. Okay, so this statistics also, it's very important. We'll be discussing the statistics also. All right. So what is a water cycle? What is a water cycle? So water cycle means basically it's a continuous movement of water. Continuous movement of water in various forms. What do you mean by various forms? We have different forms like solid. Water can be in the solid form, that is ice. Okay. And other than that, the normal water which we use, that is liquid water. And other than that, we have water vapor, that is in the gaseous form. Okay. So continuous movement of water in various forms, and that too across different regions. For example, it can be surface, it can be in the surface level, it can be in the underground level, it can be in the underground level, and it can even be in the atmosphere level. Okay, so continuous movement of water in various forms across different surfaces. So that is basically water cycle. Okay, so what is the major energy which is driving it? That is the solar energy, and the temperature changes which has been caused by the solar energy. Okay, so basically we have all studied this in our school days itself, even the very early days itself. So what will be happening? The water, the liquid water, it will be evaporating. It will be evaporating, and it will be going to the gaseous state, and again it will be condensing here. It will be condensing here. Clouds are formed. Clouds are formed here, and again after some point, after the saturation point, when the clouds are not able to retain this thing, it will be precipitating. It will be precipitating. Again, it will be coming back here. Again, the process is repeated. So that's why this is known as a water cycle. Okay, so continuous movement of water, and in different areas, even ice also can happen here in this areas. Ice formation can also happen. Okay. All right, next one. So water cycle is something which is very much vital, and it ensures the availability of water throughout the world, this is something which is ensuring the availability of water. Okay, all right. So we'll see the statistics regarding this. So where is its water? Okay, so if this is the global water, resources in the world, in the earth, there only 2.5% of this water is fresh water. Only 2.5% of this water is fresh water. Other than that, it is ocean water as well as other saline waters only. In this 2.5 fresh water itself, mostly the fresh water is stored in glaciers and ice caps only. Glaciers and ice caps. And other than that, we have groundwaters also, 30.1% groundwater, and after that only 1.2% is coming in the surface water level. Okay, so in there itself we have in the lakes 20%, and groundwater we have ground ice and permafrost we have 69%, and atmosphere we have 3% of this water. Atmosphere in the sense water vapor. Okay, all right. So this is the statistics of water. So if something is happening to this water cycle is getting disrupted, what will happen? This freshwater resources will again lower. Freshwater resources, I mean, like, that percentage will again lower. Okay, which means again this will be disrupted. So ultimately everything will be disrupted, and the entire biosphere will have to suffer because of that. Right. So what does this impact? See, the both sides of impact will be seen. Okay, so increased evaporation. If temperature is increasing, what will happen if temperature is in an area of rising temperatures? That can cause more water to evaporate from either from ground or either from sea. More evaporation will be happening. So more evaporation will happening means the warmer air will be holding more water vapor, and after that what will happen? It has to precipitate it. So more intense storms will be happening. Some areas, what will happen? Flooding will be there. I mean, like, heavy rainfall will be there, heavy flooding will be there. These things are happening because of this first thing. Okay, other than that, in some areas what will happen? Drier condition, temperatures will be rising. Okay, there is no water resource, so what will happen? Evaporation is not there, so temperatures will be rising. So that will again cause a drier condition. Drier conditions are happening. What will be the result of it? Droughts will be there, and the other water resources will also be gone. Droughts will be there, and finally even that can even affect drying of soils, and that can affect agriculture, that can affect economy. So like that way, that cycle is also happening. So this is one of the impacts of climate change. Climate change means basically temperatures will be, I mean, the global warming will be happening. Okay, so that's one of the reasons. So this is a study, 2022 study. Nature revealed that climate change has intensified the global water cycle up to 7.4%, surpassing the earlier estimates of 2 to 4%. Okay, so this was in a study. Alright, so what were the key findings of this particular report? 2024 Global Water Monitoring Report. It's actually a collaboration between different researchers in different countries. Okay, so record temperatures in 2004. The 2024 was the hottest year on record. 2024 was the hottest year on records, and even the temperatures reaching 1.5 above the pre-industrial levels. You have already have Paris Agreement and its updations and all is there. So it's already reached the 1.5 above pre-industrial levels, and based on this agreement and all, we are trying to improve the, I mean, like, trying to mitigate this global warming. Impact of water related diseases are also happening. Because of this, diseases are also happening, and even disaster, it can even become disasters and cause deaths as well as displacement of many people. So climate refugees, some term known as climate refugees also there. Because of this environmental issues, people are moving as climate refugees. Okay, again, increase in the drier months. There were 38% more record dry months in 2024 compared to the baseline period. And also, not just this dry months, we have record rainfalls also. Monthly rainfall records were set to 27% more often in 2024 compared to the year 2000. Okay, so these were some of the important key findings of this 2024 Global Water Monitor Report. Okay, all right, moving on to next one. It's a small snippet only. Pravasi Bharatiya Divas to begin in Odisha. Actually, Pravasi Bharatiya Divas is tomorrow. Okay, but still the celebrations it will be there for 3 days, one day before and one day after. Okay. All right. So 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, it will be celebrated in Bhubaneswar. So what is this Pravasi Bharatiya Divas? Pravasi Bharatiya Divas is a biennial event. Biennial event celebrated on Jan 9th to honor the contributions of Indian diaspora to Indian development. Okay, so as a token of appreciation of this Indian diaspora, every Jan 9th we will be celebrating this Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. Why we have chose this Jan 9 to celebrate this Pravasi Bharatiya Divas? For that, we need to understand what is the historical context of this thing. Okay, all right. So this was something which was initiated in 2003. So this commemorates the return of Mahatma Gandhi from South Africa to India on Jan 9. Mahatma Gandhi was practicing as a barrister or lawyer in South Africa. So after 1915, he returned back to India. From there only, he started his struggle for freedom. Okay. So to commemorate that particular event only, we are celebrating this Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, and we have chosen Jan 9 for that particular event. So regarding this 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, so it will be in Bhubaneswar. It will be in Bhubaneswar, and the theme will be Diaspora's contribution to Vikasit Bharat. Diaspora's contribution to Vikasit Bharat. We have already come up with some policy like Vikasit Bharat 2047 during 100, when we are celebrating the 100th year of anniversary of India's independence. So at that time, India will be a developed country. So that is the Prime Minister's vision. So here it will be the theme is Diaspora's contribution to a Vikasit Bharat, developed Bharat. Okay, so 18th this Pravasi Bharatiya Divas will be happening in Bhubaneswar in Odisha. Okay, all right. Now let's see a mains practice question. Analyze the reasons behind the decline in school enrollments in India from 2018-19 to 2023-24 as reported in UDISE plus. We have already discussed the findings of the report, what are the challenges and why, what was the government's argument, and what are the key issues. Other than that also, what are the key issues. So we can introduce this question by introduce this answer by giving a brief review of this report itself and what is the purpose, who will be releasing that, all these things you can mention, and some statistics from that particular report. So in that way you can introduce your answer. After that, in the body you can write what is the change in data collection methodology. Now they have introduced the Aadhaar based individual data collection, so that you can write, and so what is the advantage of this, duplication will be avoided. So all these things you can write, and after that, impact of this school closures, mergers, and again after that, socio-economic challenges. So you have to analyze these things. Okay, you need to give a way forward is not needed, but still. And regional disparities in like areas like Jammu Kashmir, Assam and all, what is happening, and other contributing factors will also be there. The past data collection issues with the past data collections, and finally you can conclude it. Okay, summarize the reasons behind the decline and again give a positive conclusion and what we have to do. Way forward you can include in the conclusion itself. Okay. All right. Next one, we'll be discussing the prelims practice questions of yesterday's DNA. Okay. All right. So consider the following statements regarding the caste census in India. The last nationwide caste census in India was conducted during 1931 census. That's the first statement. That's correct. Socioeconomic and caste census of 2011 included caste related data but did not release detailed caste data. Okay, so that's also correct. Finally, the constitution mandates the government of India to conduct a caste census every 10 years. Constitution is not mandating the government to do any sort of caste census every 10 years. So this statement is wrong. Statement 3 is wrong. So the correct answer will be A, 1 and 2 only. Okay. All right, next one. Showing respect to national flag and national anthem is enshrined in fundamental rights, fundamental duties, directive principles of state policy, preamble. It's a very direct question only. Showing respect to national flag and national anthem enshrined in fundamental duties. It is enshrined in the fundamental duties. Okay. Alright. So these are the questions for today's session. So what you can do is you can go to our website navigator.narayana.com, and there the current affairs tab will be there. So you can open the tab, and there you'll be seeing all these questions. So you can attempt these questions. You can attempt these questions, and you can even post the answers in the chat box also. Okay. Alright. So we have already discussed, I have already shown you a question in the beginning, okay, regarding Harappan civilization. Yesterday we already had a discussion on, in yesterday's DNA we had a discussion on Harappan civilization. So this is a question: which of the following was not part of Harappan civilization? Not part of Harappan civilization. Manda was part of Harappan civilization. Ganeriwala was part of Harappan civilization. Sotako was part of Harappan civilization. But Bharagar is not a Harappan site, but it is actually a Neolithic site. Okay, all right. So this Maharagag is not part. So that is the correct option. Okay, all right. So that's it for today's daily news analysis. Hope you have understood all these topics. What are the dimensions in these areas? So we'll be back with daily news analysis tomorrow at the same time. Thank you.